Wynter Tai chats Sanda with Xavier Hurricane Santana. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. This time on Chats, we speak with a man who wears different hats in the fight industry. I met him way back when in 2009 when he was just an aspiring Sanda fighter. And since then, he's branched out professionally to fight in Muay Thai and in kickboxing. As of now, he's also reaching outside of the ring as a fight promoter with his Hurricane X promotions to help carry on a tradition of fighting that he holds dear. Please welcome Xavier Hurricane Santana.
How are you doing today, sir?
We're doing good, man. Doing good. Just got done training today, put some sparring in and making fights. I already matched my next show coming up in April. I just matched two girls to rematch each other. It's gonna be a Muay Thai fight.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. So, since you've already done with the training and you're done with training others today, I'm very thankful that you were able to squeeze me in for a little bit of an interview. All right, so Xavier, let's go ahead and start things off. Okay. How did you start the martial arts?
Oh, how I started martial arts? I actually started Shotokan karate when I was about 6 years old. I was training with a woman. She was the first woman in the States to receive a black belt from Chuck Norris. She trained with him, and it was very interesting. So I trained there when I was from 6 years old till about when I was 9. Then obviously, as I got older, I wanted to do other things, and karate got expensive. My parents kind of were going through a little separation at the moment. So they split, and then I started, doing my own thing. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. Yeah, started when I was 6, went back to Shotokan when I was probably 14, 13 years old. I was in middle school. Then I actually stumbled upon Sanda, Chinese, which is a modern version of Chinese Kung Fu. It's all kickboxing style, very famous by Kung Lee and another good Jason Lee back in the day, back in the early 90s. So I actually fell in love with that sport because I was like, yo, I come from I always grew up with the traditional martial arts background and philosophy in my brain since I was a kid. So it was like, yo, that's the life I want to live. I want that traditional, that strict regiment, but you're still able to, enjoy other things in life. So long story short, yeah, I started training in Sanda probably 2007 or 2008 when I was in high school. I was constantly watching K1 fights, studying K1 fights from middle school all the way to high school. I saw there was one Sanda fighter that fought in K1, but then I don't know what happened. That he beat the guy, but then I guess conflict of interest was two countries. I guess they banned that sport, our style, Sanda in the K1 ring for a little while. So I couldn't find that style of fighting anymore. So I was like, dang. So I was looking around, bouncing around, looking gym to gym. I was like, I want to get back into martial arts. I want to get back into it because it taught me discipline, taught me how to overcome hardship growing up. You know what I mean? So got back into it, and I stumbled upon Punch Fitness back in 2008. It was 2008 when I stumbled upon it. And that's when I met your former Sifu from Jamaica, Troy Gonzalez. And he taught me a couple things there, here and there. And I started training him for a little bit. Then I started competing probably 2011. So it's been a long, I don't know if you want to hear more about my martial arts journey. If you got time for it, it's up to you, bro.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I do remember. It's about this time that I met you. Literally, I met you around 2009, and at that
Mm-hmm.
time I was going to the Lee Kun Hong Chole for Kung Fu school, and
Mm.
you were friends with one of the CJs there,
Yeah.
Nayara, I think. And
Nayara
she brought you,
Montero, I forget her last name.
yeah, and she brought you to the
Yeah.
kickboxing class, and I remember seeing you for the first time. I was really impressed because
Mm-hmm.
you had really crisp movement, and I was like, oh, like
Thank
there's
you,
no
thank you.
there's no doubt that this guy is a Sanda fighter, a Sanshou fighter. There's no
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Everything was so
Yeah.
crisp. Your
Thank
takedowns,
you,
your
man.
punches, your kicks. So I was really impressed
Thank
with
you,
you.
thank you.
So please
Thank you.
tell me some more. So after getting
Okay,
into
okay.
not being able to find a school, what happened?
Yeah, I trained like well, once I met Troy, I was able to train with him for a little bit. Obviously, I was young. I was like probably Jesus, 16, 17 years old. My mom had passed away 2009. So it was, instead of me be able to afford training, I was starting to learn from YouTube. Almost everything I learned was from YouTube, and I ended up buying Kung Lee Sanshao's fighting system book from Amazon. I literally have it in perfect condition to this day, like the Bible, bro. Like that book helped me learn a couple things, but also YouTube. I learned everything from watching fights and just studying YouTube like I was a little kid, bro. That's really where I learned all my combinations to this day. Even people like, how the hell it's yes, from some of my coaches and some of the people I've learned, but a lot of it, YouTube, self-taught, YouTube, just YouTube the living shit. That was like my Bible. To this day, I still watch fights for hours on end. I'll watch fights from like the 1970s all the way to 2025, like when there was American style kickboxing, when Sanda first came out in China back in like the 80s. I'm watching fights and studying. And my wife's like, Jesus, you real? I'm like, yeah, like this is my life. I love it. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. Love every minute of it. So from 2011 to probably, oh God, now I still train, compete, still trying to do it, even go full professional level. Because I literally fought Barbados 2019. I fought the national team guy. And I believe I fought three times that day. I won one and I lost to their main event guy, which was the guy I was supposed to fight. But they kind of when you're fighting a national team guy in his home country, they're gonna make you fight more than one person just to prove a point. And then when you finally fight their guy, they're like, you're like, oh fuck, I'm tired, bro. Like hold on, like you're not moving the thing. So it was kind of a huge disadvantage because I remember 2019. Well, before we continue, let me go back to 2011. From 2011 till 2013, 2012, I was training with Troy Gonzalez over at Punch Fitness. My first Sanda fight was probably 2011, and I fought the ICMAC back when the World Sanda League was still around. And I remember the first time I fought, was first time cutting weight, first time all this, dude. On paper, like online, it said we had to be at a specific weight. We had to be at 152. We get to the day of weigh-ins, like we cut weight. We finally get to day weigh-ins. I had to cut an additional 12 pounds in one day to fight the following day, and that was the worst, dude. First time cutting weight. I never took diuretics. Like I ended up getting diuretics from a friend that was a bodybuilder. He gave the whole team diuretics. Next thing you know, everyone's I don't know if I'm gonna curse, but they're pooping their brains out, pretty much blowing up their brains in the bathroom just to make weight. Then we all go to fight. Even Troy's nephew, which you probably know, Joshua Giardini, he fought as well. He fought. He came back out of retirement and just like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I was like, what? He ended up cutting like 15 pounds in one day and fought the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, like Josh was. Yeah, he was a monster. He's a monster. To this day, I still got a lot of respect for him. I wish he stayed active. I wish he stayed training, but tomato, tomato. Everyone goes their own separate way, goes their own separate path. The last time I probably trained with Troy was probably 2013. Yeah, it was around 2013. I remember, yeah, around 2013, 2015, I trained with Troy. My last tournament with Troy was 2012. When my first tournament, I actually placed second place. I got silver medal. So which was good for my first time competing in anything. Being a young man, I was literally fresh out of high school, like 19 years old. Just turned 19, first fighting out there. And I was just like, yo, I'm fighting guys from literally the guys I was fighting from all over the world. And I remember my second tournament, I fought some guys from Bermuda. From Bermuda, I fought some guys. I remember that fight because I was able to get someone to record it. This is back before YouTube was popping. Cameras were working. It was dude. I remember I caught him with a nasty head kick, and like everybody was impressed. My whole team was impressed. Troy stood there. He's like, "Oh my god, Xavier, you almost knocked him out. Oh my god, why didn't you just throw one more time?" And that was it. He was gone. And that fight, that tournament, let me actually get the medal right now. Give me one moment. I got the medal up here. It was 2000, I think 2012 or 2013. But I got my medals up here as well. So it was an amazing time, man. Amazing time. Like I remember just starting out as a kid, learning from YouTube, watching certain fighters that you're like, damn, I like his style. I want to learn. Let me see if I can mimic. That's what I always did since I was a kid, just mimic. Try to mimic that particular fighter's fighting style. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, I'm about to pull out all my medals and all my little plaques right now. So
All
it's a
right,
lot
no
of
problem.
jingling you're gonna be hearing. A lot of jingling
I
you're
love to
gonna be
see them.
hearing. Just a lot of achievements I've done, trophies. I've fought pretty much Jesus now, God, 2011 and came back probably 2014. Damn near, yeah, about 13 years, 13 plus years competing, maybe more. And
That's good.
I fought semi-pro Sanda. I fought, like my last fight, I fought for a belt for Fight Up in California. That was a semi-pro bout as well. I mean, dude, the amount of stories I can tell about my martial arts career, man, this is damn near. Oh God, I'm 34 now. Like, yeah, decade plus, man, decade plus.
Oh, man, that's
So
some
I
good stuff.
remember
Oh.
2013 is when I actually had a major surgery. I had a freak accident. I cut my Achilles tendon, my right Achilles. I cut it clean off. Freak accident at a gym, helping to move equipment. Fell on the back of my foot, chopped my tendon off. I walked away when it happened. I didn't know because I was young. I thought it was dirty electrical tape because it was brand new gym that just moved in. I was just helping to move an MMA cage. Cut my tendon clean off. I walked away. Like as soon as I walked away, there's always like a slope in the ground. My foot dropped. So I looked down. I'm like, why is my foot not going up? And then I look, my tendon was completely out. It looked like dirty electrical tape to me. So what I was doing, grab my leg, hop on one leg, about to rip my tendon off, not thinking it was my tendon, thinking it was tape. So the manager of the gym comes pick me up in his arms like I'm a little kid. I look up at him, I'm like, what? He's like, dude, that's just your tendon. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, is that bad? He just looks at me, he's like, that's beyond bad. That's your Achilles. I was like, no, it's not. That's tape. That's electrical tape. Bro, it was the craziest experience ever, man. They rushed me to the hospital, threw me in the back seat. When they closed the door on my foot, that's when I felt immediate pain because my foot actually went backwards and my tendon popped out even more.
Ooh.
Yes, I remember that recovery, dude. It took about, not even that, the recovery and the surgery, I'd say, oh God, 9 months. 9 months, man. 9 months in the cast. I was still going to the gym, hopping on one leg, trying to lift weights. Yeah,
So
9 months.
I have a question for you. You're a
Yeah,
man who's used to constant motion, right?
yeah,
So if
yeah.
you're used to moving around all the time, you're in the fight game, training all the time. What's
Mhm.
it like having to go from 100 to zero real quick, no movement?
Man, listen, it's depression, man. Depression kicked in. Like I remember even after the surgery, I had to go through a lawsuit because the gym wouldn't cover it, and it went through. It was, bro, it was bad, dude. It was bad. Then I remember going to the Philippines. Like I went to the Philippines, came back, whole thing with Troy, and then he's my boy. I still love him to this day, but business is business. You know what I'm saying? So, but dude, it was huge depression. Like I did get suicidal because I was just stuck at home. I had so many other fighters, even pro boxers, say your career's done, your career's over, you can never fight again, you can never do this. It was depressing, man. When you got pro fighters that they're older than you, they watch you from the time you train when you're like 16, 17 years old to tell you in your face, you're never gonna fight again. I'm sorry, Xavier. Like your career's done, your career's over, your dream is done, and it hurt. I was like, yo, like, are you serious, man? Don't say that to me. Like, man, I put years of watching, studying, like wanting to live this lifestyle just to have more time for my family because I grew up with no family. You know what I'm saying? My family, Mom passed away when I was 17. I buried her. My dad left when I was 12 years old. So I was raised by my grandmother. You know what I mean? So that's a little spiel we can talk about later down the road, guys. Later down the road. So but man, it's really it was hard. It's more of a mental thing than anything. When you're so used to constantly moving and going to zero, it's just like you become almost like you come to a stop still, like a very still. You have to look within yourself, like constant down. That's when social media started being popular. I remember creating my Facebook when I had my surgery because I was like, okay, I'll finally make a Facebook just to see what this whole social media thing was about. Because I lived under a rock. I was very like, oh, just YouTube and read books and call it a day. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up with a bunch of friends that sold drugs. I did all kinds of crazy stuff. Used martial arts to rob drug dealers and you name it. I've done it.
Mhm.
I've never sold drugs, but I used to rob drug dealers with martial arts. Trust me, it was crazy. It was crazy, crazy times. Yeah, crazy times. So,
Kind of like a Robin Hood kind of thing, huh?
hell yeah, man. Well, I had to because my mom was sick. She had to get dialysis from the time I was 12. So I had to constantly even skip high school to go take care of her when she got home because nobody was home to even cook her food. So it was there was times where I would go home and it's like, well, we don't got money. I know some people trapping down the street trying to gonna have to knock them out, knock them out, feed my mom. Like it was the name of the game.
Yeah,
You know what
man.
I mean? Survival, survival. So, but no,
You did what
it's
you
a
had to
mental
do.
battle, bro. Yeah, it's a mental battle. You really, it's more of soul searching. What that did for me was like a soul searching inside. Like, who am I as a person? Like, am I gonna sit here and let an injury change me? Like, am I gonna sit here and let people negativity change who I am? Oh, you're never gonna come back. Your career's done. You're gonna go. You should. It's, a lot of people go into drugs, go into alcohol when they get a major injury like that. I was different. I was like, nah, I want this shit. My bad if I curse. Sorry.
No, man,
I
no, man,
want this. You know what I'm saying? I want this. This is my life. I got nothing left. You know what I mean? I grew up with no father figure barely in life, so I had to teach everything on my own. I don't do drugs, I don't do alcohol. I just eat sweets like a fat kid. So that's it. Listen, dude, you give me anything sweet, I am there, bro. I am there at any party. Everyone's drinking alcohol. They're like, yo, Xavier's just eating all the junk food. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, man, just to say, because I have to say it, right?
Yeah,
Sugar,
yeah,
a sugar addiction is almost just as bad as like an alcohol or a drug addiction.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
I
So,
know.
I
I know.
mean, everybody has their vices, I guess.
Yeah, everyone has their vices, you know what I'm
But
saying? So
truthfully, Xavier, like I
yeah.
didn't know that stuff about you, brother. So, like, just hearing, your
Mm-hmm.
personal battle that you had to go through growing up, and then
Mm-hmm.
also knowing your zeal, your zest for fighting, right? I understand how
Mm-hmm.
one fed the other. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, your 13 years accrued of fighting in the fight game, bro. I understand you. I feel you. I get you. Right? So,
Yeah, man.
because of all that experience, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a plethora of experiences at that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
do feel very confident in asking you, what
Mm-hmm.
is Sanda? It's also called Sanshao.
Correct, right. It was originally called Sanshao before they changed the name, like back probably, I'd say probably maybe 5, 10 years ago. I still call it Sanshao because that's how I grew up learning it. I was like, Wufu Sanda. I was like, hey, I'm just call it Sanshao. Like it's free fighting. Like I don't know why y'all changing it now. It's not gonna do any different. But what is Sanda? It's a modern version of Kung Fu. It takes all techniques from different styles of Kung Fu and make them, and a little bit of, obviously they use a little bit of techniques from boxing, of course, to make it more modernized. So it's literally a modern version of Kung Fu, just with more practical, more practicality. You get me? So like certain styles, certain Kung Fu styles, they do work. They still work to this day. You got Choi Lei Foot that still did work back in the 80s and 70s when they went to Thailand and beat some guys over there. So there's certain styles that work, but certain styles where it's like they kind of lost their zen, I guess, after certain political stuff happened in China. A lot of the real like it's not always a soft art. There's always a hard art. You get me? A lot of the real kung fu practitioners or teachers were killed. You know what I mean? Or were taken away by the government. So it was you know, it's sad. But Sanda started back in the 1970s. It was actually developed by, I believe, Mas. I forget his name, Mas something. He has a YouTube channel. I forget his name though, but he developed it and he brought it. He made Wushu Sanda pretty much back in the 1970s, and they incorporate techniques from Taekwondo, certain kicks from Taekwondo's, a lot of kicks from Kung Fu, boxing, hands combinations from boxing. Some, some more modernized, like you got the bok choy turned into like a back fist. You got certain moves, from other Kung Fu styles as well. And we do have, I think we do still have Chin Na, a little bit of Chin Na, and Squad Jiao, which is Chinese wrestling, is involved. So yeah, it's very, very modern art. What I like to call it personally, that is a mixed martial art because it's a stand-up fighting style, but it's a mixed martial art. Because you got your wrestling, you got your boxing, you got your kicking. It's mixed in its own way. It's a modern mixed martial art style.
I'd have to agree with you. It is it's a mix of all, as you said, the mix of techniques from different Kung Fu styles that are effective, all rolled into this one ball called Sanda, or before it was called Sanshou. One thing I do know, I remember speaking with a wushu coach, right?
Yes.
And he had informed me that there are three different branches. Like when you go to school in China, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the physical education, right? So you can go and specialize in wushu form, which is the practice, the forms and stuff like that, Chang Quan, Nan Quan, all those. And you could then also go into the Taiji Chuan part, right? But then there's also a separate part which is Sanda, Sanshou. So usually people who go into the Taiji Chuan or the wushu forms part, they don't go into the Sanda part. And people who do go into the Sanda part usually just going to one other part, which would most likely be the wushu forms, but mostly not. Mostly I see the Sanda fighters staying with the Sanda. Right, so it's very interesting and it's very informative for you to say what you've said because it just makes sense. It just like puts all the pieces in together. So Sanda is a mixed martial art. It's like mixed between all different Kung Fu styles. That's also very, very interesting. Now, because they are effective techniques, right? It kind of negates my question whether it be effective for self-defense or not. So we're going to just forego that question and go straight into the next one. So since I know you do have traditional Kung Fu education as well, especially in Chole Fad, as well as a little bit in Wing Lung from Sifu Choi.
Yeah, from Sifu Choi.
My question to you then is, in your opinion, what's the hardest part of developing Kung Fu?
The hardest part of developing Kung Fu, it's you got to learn to adapt. You got to learn to adapt. And, no offense to the traditional Chinese martial artists, but I feel like certain styles have to adapt with the changes. You gotta adapt, guys. Like, we can't have all this, this nonsense that people seem to portray or show on YouTube or even as reels that all we do is slap, like slappy, you know what I mean? Like we got to adapt with the modern times. You get me? We can't let Taekwondo, this become a point fighting sport now, look better than we do. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you heard, but they're trying to somewhat do that to Sanda as well. They're trying to make it, they're trying to change the chest protector to more like an electrical one. So if you get touched, it's considered 1 point. And it's like, it was kind of weird how they're trying to do the scoring. I was like, okay, now we're not Taekwondo guys. This is a full contact sport. Why are we adding a little chest protector? Like, we don't need that. We're not,
also,
you know what I mean?
So with that point sparring, with that point contact thing on the chest protector, it takes it from being continuous fighting, being stop and start fighting. That's weird.
And not even that, they don't even feel the hit, because how are you really going to necessarily get used to being hit if you have a chest protector on? You don't even feel it. You just feel the chest protector on, takes the hit, okay, but you don't feel the real impact of that punch or that kick to really know, as a person, can you handle pain? Can you take getting hit? So
very true. And I agree with that answer 100%. What's the hardest part of learning Kung Fu? And that is learning to adapt. Hardest part of developing Kung Fu, is learning to adapt.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true, sir.
Like for example, like Bruce Lee said, remember Bruce Lee, the Godfather, he literally made his own style. Why? Adaptation. He adapted to different styles. He adapted to the real world. So that's what we got to do to really make it more, how do you say, more popular.
All right. I get you. I'm with you 100% on that. So, Xavier, we're going to take you straight into the next question, right?
Okay.
And now we're talking more about impact outside of the martial arts context, okay? So now, how has your martial arts training influenced your life?
Oh my God, dude. I can tell you so many things. It's influenced my life on a very high spiritual level and good level, where I don't do drugs, I don't do alcohol. I view life differently. Just in general, it's helped me deal with hardship, discipline, where you got to deal with heartache, broken heart, stuff like that. It taught me a way of life. It kept me motivated, kept me strong, kept me balanced. I literally can't say without martial arts, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be, in jail, or, selling drugs, or all kinds of ridiculousness that we have out here in the modern world. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. But martial arts is a way of life. At the end of the day, it's a way of life. Teaches you everything and anything you want to learn from it. It just all depends on how you grasp it and how you use it, you utilize it and take it.
And it hits again, and that piece of advice definitely hits home. And the reason being is the your background that you had laid out earlier, right? So if there's anybody who understands about dealing with hardship, my friend, it would definitely be you, right?
Oh, yeah.
For you to say that martial arts helps deal with hardship, I believe you 100%, my friend.
Yeah, man.
As you said, if it weren't for the martial arts, you probably wouldn't be here right now. That's great. So, bring you up into another question, right? So, if you could teach the new generation of martial artists only one thing, Xavier, it could be technique, it could be philosophy, what would it be?
Be open-minded. Be open-minded. Don't be so quick to, because the social media is a very powerful tool and a very diabolical enemy at the same time. Don't listen to all the noise. Listen to within yourself what you feel is right. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. Every fighter has their own style. Every fighter has their own philosophy. Every fighter, adapts differently. But it just depends what makes you you, not just as a person, but as a fighter as well. What techniques you like to use, or what works for your style, what works for your body mechanics, or for your size. That's what makes you. You know what I mean? That's my advice to all fighters and all martial artists. Like, hey, be open-minded. Don't be closed-minded thinking this style's the best, or, because we got a lot of guys, even in the Muay Thai world, for example, they're just arrogant. They're very, Muay Thai is this. We couldn't win because we couldn't do knees, or we couldn't do elbows. For example, my very first show, this is something a lot of people didn't know. Only the USA WKF knows now. I actually did Sanda versus Muay Thai with elbows. I allowed it in a boxing ring. No one has done that since 2006 in China. Back when Thailand brought their pros to fight Sanda guys, they weren't allowed to do elbows and they had to wear elbow pads. So I literally told my guys, like, look, let's cut this 30-year-old BS saying, oh, my style could have won because you didn't give us enough time to clinch, enough time to throw elbows or knees. I literally gave them 7-second clinch, knees and elbows. You want to know what happened? Obviously, the Thai guys, they were young. They weren't, they didn't have enough experience. But the coach was like, no, they're not ready. My fighters are, unfortunately, they're not ready to do elbows yet. But if you watch that show, which I'm going to send you from the YouTube channel, we had one Sanda guy win and one Muay Thai guy win. So it was 100% fair. There was no favoritism. No, oh, he didn't get to clinch for 7 seconds. No, you guys did what you were asked to do. And that was it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, man, that's great, bro. That is great. So,
yeah, man.
That's one of the best answers I've ever heard. And you had literally said that's the best advice that you can give to martial artists. I'm going to say, I think that's one of the best pieces of advice is that you could give to anybody, sir. Be open-minded. Yes, yes, yes. This is great. That is a great piece of advice. Right? All right, sir. So now we've come up to the last question, right? And usually I always say that it's the hardest. And how can you be contacted?
How can I be contacted? Through my Instagram, Hurricane Santana, through my promotions Instagram, Hurricane X Promotions, or even through my Facebook, Xavier Santana. Which you guys probably will see my little picture back when I was competing. I'm still competing now. So I'm slowly retiring from competing as well. I'll be 35 years old this year. I'm 34. It's been a long road, you know what I mean, trying to get at least 2 professional fights, either kickboxing, maybe Sanda, because I do know there's a pro organization over in Europe that does professional Sanda, but they literally told me they can't afford me. So it's like, come on, guys. Like, they're like, oh, we can't afford you. And there is a professional organization in Brazil that's offered me a chance too, but the pay didn't make sense. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fly to Brazil for only $500. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, no. So.
Yes, sir. It definitely has to make sense professionally, financially, as well as whether the person's up to your level or not. So I definitely understand.
Yeah.
Definitely understand. So, contact information for Xavier Hurricane Santana will be in the description down below.
Yes,
also, in the description down below will be a link for Feiyue shoes. If you need Feiyue shoes, go ahead and click the link down below for the best prices, the best deals, all at feiyueshoes.com. Also, guys, just want to let you know that I partnered with a company called DUBBY Energy. If you need Jitterless Energy, go ahead, click the link down below. You get a 10% discount on your purchase at DUBBY Energy. Xavier Hurricane Santana.
Yes, sir, let's get it.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today, sir. And you taught me a lot about Sanda, Sanshao, and all about your life. Thank you very much, sir. It has been a pleasure. It has been.
Brother. Thank you. Yeah, you.
All right, sir. Take it easy.
All right.